box or you want to unmute yourself, then definitely you are welcomed. So here in this kind of publication, uh, what happens where we are segregating or disaggregating the data, where the data manipulation, it is related with the data manipulation, where your research finding or your research data is, or your research is complex and your research is coming with a lot of findings, and the researcher published that researcher in uh, fractions. That is a complex research and could be published as one research. But knowingly, the researcher make the slices of that research into parts, into fractions, and publish that in different journals. And that is the one research only. The data is saying it is one research. Okay. Yes. Dr. Anup Singh, I agree with you. It's split into multiple parts. Then it comes with the Islamic publication. Yes. Full work of the results. Where the it is important here that the data itself should describe it is the single complex research, and knowingly the person has splitted that research into multiple parts, then it is Islamic publications. And there are so many publication frauds that are associated. And uh, yes, ghost publication is where the person who has contributed, who has contributed in the research. It is not like in some of the people who has supported us in the research, we put their name in the acknowledgement. That is different thing. Where the person who has contributed in the research as author, and that person should be given the credit as authorship, because that person really contributed at every stage of the research, or whatever. If there are two researchers, suppose, and they are working on the single research, and they have divided their work, that I'll work on this one, I'll work on this one, and you have to work on this one. And whatever the duty that was assigned to the second researcher, that second researcher has completed everything. But when you are coming to publication, you are not going to give credits to second researcher, means you are not adding the name of that researcher as author. It is primary or secondary or whatever the tertiary names, author that you are adding, whatever the position that author that deserve, but you are not adding the position of that author in your publication, then it is a ghost authorship. Means you have stolen something and you are not giving the credit to that person. Okay. And in the gift authorship, where the author, they don't have any contribution, but they are added there in the publication. That is gift authorship. And ghost authorship, here it is the difference that you have to understand. So the first about the violation of publication ethics in the authorship also, or in the contributorship also, that comes about the plagiarism. And plagiarism, it's considered that is very serious, because it is like, sometimes we say it is kidnapping, sometimes it is like stealing, or sometimes we use the word like it is publication fraud, because you just have stolen the idea, you have stolen the text, or you have stolen the data from the other publication. So it is taking over the written words, or it is taking over the data findings of the other researchers, or we are not giving credit to that researcher. If the credit is given, then it is different matter. If credit is not given, then it comes under the plagiarism. So literary theft or the kidnapping, there are so many words that are used here for this plagiarisms. And one more finding that comes there, sometime unconscious plagiarism that also comes there, and unconscious plagiarism of the ideas. Uh, it is like the part of the clinical psychology, where the clinical psychologist, they have given a specific term to this cryptomnesia. So where unknowingly the person, they are not able to find whether this idea, or this idea that we are taking, or the idea that we are using in our research, that is already it is of others' idea or someone else, other, they have used this idea in their research, and this is the originator of that idea. And we don't know about that person. Unknowingly, we are taking the credit of that idea. This is my idea, and we becomes the originator of that idea. And that is not knowingly, that is unknowingly. This can be due to, because there is a lot of firing of the resources is there, and where there is so many resources are there. So in that case, it could be like, because so many data, so many information is there, and we unknowingly, unconsciously are using others' ideas by giving the credit like this is my idea. Then it happens. So that could happen in some cases. So that's why we say that that is unconscious plagiarisms, where the intention was not there, but it was used. So that's why in the ethical guidelines, what we say, always acknowledge the contribution of others. So what they have given, that let acknowledge them, let's cite them, that this is their work. That's why citing uh, their others' works in our research, that is a good idea. Okay, that will avoid this violation of the plagiarisms. Otherwise, if we are taking others' idea, or we are taking others' data, or we are taking others' graphs or the pictures or other texts, that all will come under this direct plagiarism. So the plagiarism of idea, that can be there, where we are taking the hypothesis or the theory of, or the any metaphor of others, that we are putting in our research, and we are not citing that the originator of that idea, who has given that idea. If we are not citing that one, then definitely it will be the plagiarism of ideas. So sometimes there are exceptions also, like in case of ideas, because that, as what the cognitive psychology is saying there, like unconscious plagiarism could be there due to lot of information, firing of information, lot of resources of data we have, and we are not able, or due to some of the reasons, we were not aware about that, that it was the idea of others, and we have uh, introduced that idea there, and we have not cited that person who already has given their idea. So in that case, sometimes in case of the common ideas or the common knowledge, or the principles or the hypotheses that are very common to everyone, that is very specific. Although in the hypothesis we are not using such kind of things, but in some course or some of the common the sentences or the common sayings that we are using in our day-to-day life, or the very common knowledge that we are expecting, this is very common and it is known to everyone. In such cases, if it is a common knowledge, the idea that you are putting there in your research, if that is very common, the fact or the figures that you are using there, that is very common and that falls under the category of common knowledge, then that is not considered as the plagiarism of ideas. But conditions apply there. Conditions apply means what kind of common knowledge is there, and that belongs to which group. So, like for the Indian history, if we are talking there, might be the some of the things we are taking from the Indian histories, and that is very common to everyone. So that are we are including that sentences related to the Indian history in our publication, in our academic writing. So that is very common to everyone. So might be so many authors, they have included that, or the idea originally who has included that idea. We unconsciously, we are not aware about that ideas who first introduced that one, but it now has become very common. And at which level we are writing that? If we are writing that at the level of educator level, we are writing that at the UG graduate student, they are writing that one, or the PG or the PhD scholar or the faculty members. These are different levels. So on which level this knowledge is common? If at that level, that researcher is writing that without giving or proper citing the originator of that idea, then it could be common now. Like UG students, it is very common. Something is there in the Indian history, very common up to UG level. UG level students, they will not be much aware about the originator of that idea, and they are writing their dissertations. Okay, and then they just add it is very common and known to every student of that level, then it can be the common knowledge. It could be the common knowledge because they will not go towards the originator of that idea, who originated that idea. So in some cases, it is not considered as plagiarism of idea, where the common knowledge part comes there. But ethical guidelines in the publication says what if we are doubtful, we are not sure from where this concept is taken or from where this fact is taken, whether this fact is common knowledge or not, then it will be a good idea that we provide citations for beside that. Okay, so that will avoid all this violation of this direct plagiarism. But in some cases, it is there like the common knowledge or the common facts or the common figures. We try to exclude that one from the plagiarisms when the supervisors, they are looking that one. The research guide, they are looking that one. They look out whether it is a common fact or it is a common figure or not. Then plagiarism of text could be there that we call verbatim, where we are putting word for word exactly from the uh, originator, and we are not citing the originator, we are not citing the researcher, or we are citing, but we are exactly using word for word, exactly the same sentence is used there without writing that in on structure of the sentence or without writing in on words. Then this plagiarism of text that comes there. So I have one example that I have taken here on the screen. You could read this. This is the one of the passages that is taken from one research paper. You can read this one. If someone can unmute to read this, I'll welcome that person. Anyone can unmute and read this passage, this shifting fortunes of war. If anyone can unmute and read this passage, this specific finding of the research. Okay.
Participants, please interact with sir so that the session can be live.
If anyone is interested, if anyone's feels yes, okay,
Yes,
I can do.
yes. The shifting fortunes of war had a terrible impact, and not just on those who were killed or maimed in the fighting. When the Republican General Custine force took the city of Mainz in the Rhineland in October 1792, local patriots created a society of Friends of Liberty and Equality with 500 members, adapted their own version of the Marseillaise, and planted a liberty tree.
So this is the passage. If we are using this finding in our research, so I just have put that in two uh, format. One is like this: the first after the capture of the city of Mainz by General Custine, local patriots created a society of Friends of Liberty and Equality with 500 members. Then we have included the author also. This is McPhee, 2016, page 182. This is one of the one kind of rearranging of the sentences that we have added there. Means we are taking the text from the originator, from the researcher, from the author. Okay, so this passage we can cite by this way. Second is the we can write the passage by the second way also, where we just have used the sentences after the capture of the city of Mainz by General Custine. Local patriots created a society of Friends of Liberty and Equality with the 500 members. So out of these two passages that the text that I have used, if I just want to include that in my research, which one do you think is the correct? First one or the second one? First one. Okay, Suman Man has written first one. Okay. Second one, what's wrong there in the second one then? In the first one, what we have done, and in the second one, what is omitted there? No citation in the second one. Yes, Mansi Goel. Yes. So in the second one, in the first one, exactly the quotations that has used there that will describe, that will stop the verbatim. Exactly, it is not like in the both the no attribution is there. Yes, exactly. In the second, there is no attribution given to the originator, to the author who has done research on it, and the quotation that must be added there, and a little bit what the rearranging of the sentences. Although in the both the passages there is there, but sometimes what the research scholars or the people who are new in the research, they exactly take the words from the passage. Like the first passage is there, they exactly take the words and they put there in the research. And when we are checking the plagiarisms, the Internet or the other software, drill bit, whatever that shows the same, it is taken from there. So that is, there should be the rearrangement of the sentences, the syntactical structure that should be on, and then the quotation of the uh, researchers who has really contributed that one, that must be added. That will avoid the word pitching. Otherwise, it is just like taking word for word, and that will be the plagiarism of text from there. Although we are citing the person, we are citing the researcher, but taking exact text, exact word from the research findings, that will be the verbiage. So here, what we have to do, like when we are using the findings from the other researchers, then we summarize the others, that the work that they have used or the finding, what exactly their finding are saying, what is the meaning of their finding. We try to condense the words by giving a the credit to that researcher and making that complete finding in a shorter version. If we are not doing that one, then definitely it will be the violation of the publication ethics, and we will say this is inappropriate paraphrasing or summarizing. So we are taking exactly the material, the text, or the images, or the everything from the previous researchers, and only like changing a little bit, like if there is active voice to passive voice changes or the tense we have changed, that will not avoid from this text plagiarism we were written. For that, exact paraphrasing is must require. So that's why I have one more example of your passage. This is one of the passages, and I request someone to read this for me. Someone can unmute and read this for me. What the passage exactly is there? Can there anyone who can read this passage? Himshikha, thank you.
Yes. Western
You are not audible to me, or I am not audible to everyone. I don't know.
Sir, you are audible. Himshika is not audible.
Himshikha is not audible. Is
So
there
can I
anyone who
read?
can read this passage? Yeah, please.
Yes,
Please.
sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Western law begins with two major subgroups. One contains the legal systems of the European continent. Although there are many differences among European legal systems, they are all descended from the law of Roman Empire and were influenced by the procedures of medieval Roman Catholic canon law.
So this was adopted from one of the study, and when we are coming on paraphrasing, then this is the A paraphrasing. Ma'am, please read this one also. Sudha, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Western law has two major subgroups. One is the legal system of Europe. There are differences between the European legal systems, but they are all descended from the Roman Empire and influenced by the procedures of the medieval Roman Catholic law.
Yeah, this is the A paraphrasing. And this is the B one.
At first glance, it can seem like the legal traditions of European countries are all very different. However, as part of one of the largest subgroups of Western law, European legal systems largely share a common origin in the Roman Empire and medieval Roman Catholic Church law. Dorothy H. Bracy, Exploring Law and Culture, 31, 2006.
Yeah. So out of these A and B paraphrasing, which one that you think it is okay? This that will not come under the text plagiarism.
Sir, I think B.
Forget this quotations, forget this citation. Just uh, uh, I'm asking from everyone, not from Sudha ma'am only. I'm asking from everyone. You can write here in the chat box also. Yes, I'm getting yes. Himanshi B, yes. Mansi Goel, second, yeah. Madhvi, second one. We are just looking at the quotation, the citations, or we are looking at the sentence structure. Because when it comes on paraphrasing or when it comes on summarizing, then exactly the same sentences or word to word, if we are taking from the original study, then it is not exactly the re-paraphrasing will be there. Then we have to use our own sentences, we have to use our own word structure, and we have to put that in our own language. That is mandatory with this quotations or the citations that we are using here. So this is what the guidelines is saying about the syntactical structure. That should be the authors who is citing that one. And it is like the identity of the source information that must be mentioned there. That's why it is the quotation that has been used, the citation that has been used in the B part. Then when we are reproducing the text, the meaning of the what the meaning of that research finding is saying, that should not be altered. The words that should be chosen very nicely, that will convey the same meaning that that author is trying to say, but it should not be exactly there. So why I'm taking this one, because the researchers who just they start like the PG student or the research scholar, sometimes they exactly take the same words from the research findings and then cite the authors, and they say, yes, we are giving proper credit to that author, then it should not be the plagiarism. But it will be the plagiarism if you are taking exactly the same word. Then it will be the violation of the publication ethics. So I have two case studies here, and I request Manjita ma'am, if you can, Manjita Salom ma'am, you can read it. Later on, you have written, can I read it? So this is the first case study where I need attention of everyone. Deepak sir, anyone to read? Am I audible?
Yes, audible.
Sheila, yes, yes. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Nancy. Imsika. Can anyone come forward to read this passage? Yeah, please.
Please interact with the sir.
Anyone who is interested, like the previously Dr. Deepak Fuda who was saying that.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. Please.
Two researchers who have collaborated on various projects in the past have jointly published a number of papers. 3 quarters into the writing of the manuscript from their most recent joint project, the researchers experience a profound difference of opinion regarding the direction of the current project, and the incident leads to the eventual breakup of their research collaboration. Soon after, one of the researchers moved to another institution in another country and begins to pursue a different line of research. A year later, the remaining researchers decide to finish writing the remaining quarter of the manuscript and submit it for publication with his name as sole author. By appropriating the joint manuscript and submitting it under his name, has this other researcher committed plagiarism?
Yeah. So I think everyone got this, what exactly the case study is there. So in this case, what you say, the one researcher who has left this study, there was some breakup and that person has left the study, but other one has completed the research and published by not giving any credit to the first researcher. First researcher is not about, we are talking the corresponding author or the primary author. It is about the both up to where they have worked. They both have worked as fully or they both were the equal authors. So we are not questioning on the authorship. We are just talking about the collaborative research, where sometimes there is some questions on the authorship also. But in this case study, if we consider, we will consider it like the second researcher or the one researcher who has completed the rest of the this research and published it with his or her name. So that researcher has committed any plagiarism or not. Anyone want to say something? You can write here in the chat box or you can unmute yourself. Okay. If not interested, let's move forward with the next case study. That is also somewhere related to this one. And I request someone other than who already read this, uh, someone else will come forward to read this case study also. Can anyone come forward to read this case study? It's just to ensure whether you are attending or not. This is a virtual classroom where we are not face to face. We can ensure our presence by responding whatever we are discussing here. Yeah. Can anyone come forward to read this case study, this passage?
Yes, sir. A graduate student
Yes,
working under
Nishika,
her
please.
mentor's supervision makes an interesting discovery as part of her doctoral thesis work. Before she is ready to publish her thesis, however, her mentor feels that the discovery merits immediate publication and decides to report her data along with other data he had collected from other graduate fellows working in his lab in a journal article. The mentor does not list the graduate student's name as a co-author, nor is there byline in the article indicating the extent of her contribution under the pretext that the student's contribution in and of itself was not sufficient to merit authorship.
So in this case study, do you think the mentor of the study, the supervisor of the study that has committed some plagiarism, or it is the violation of publication ethics, or it is against the violation of the academic and publication ethical guidelines? And what exactly the person has done? Is there anyone who wants to speak?
So it is the ghost authorship.
It is the ghost authorship, where the person who actually contributed what we were already talking about, the violation of publication ethics. So here the person actually, yes, it is violation, and exactly the person who has worked and has come to up to finding, and that person was deserving the credit to that research work, but that credit is not given to that person, and only other people who actually have not worked. In ghost authorship, what happens if there are multiple authors? In that case, it normally happens. Uh, Sometimes we give the name to this where the work is totally stolen. So it is the matter of the intellectual property rights, because in both the study, not only in this study, uh, there are many organizations, they have their organizational policy on the authorship, and they put some guidelines regarding the authorship disputes, that who should be considered the author of this research work, and what should be their serial, like the corresponding or the primary author first, then as per the contribution, because it is a matter of contributorship also, as per the contribution of that person, the second or the third or the tertiary, accordingly the authorship that goes on there. So in the first research, where the half of the research that was done collaboratively, and later on one of the researcher that carried out the research, and when the time came there for the publication, the credit was not given to the first author, then definitely it is the matter of the intellectual property rights, where the individual that should not be misappropriated, and the that person must be given the right of the contributorship and the authorship. In the second research, that is totally stolen. That is totally the ghost authorship, where the contributor, the primary contributor, the originator of the ideas, the person who has 100%ly, because the supervisor or mentor, we can't neglect that there is no role of that mentor or the supervisor, but the student who was working on that uh, research project, that must be given the credit of the authorship, but that is not given, and the someone else who has not contributed, that has given the credit of the authorships. So these all comes under the plagiarisms and the authorship issues. Some organizations they have policies, some organizations they don't have policies, but definitely it will come under the plagiarism and authorship disputes. And when we are planning our research work, when we are planning our research project, then definitely there should be a kind of agreement between all the researchers, what role they have, what they are exactly doing. And if they are not performing their duties or they are not okay on their roles, then what exactly should be done when the paper will be published? So accordingly, because they will be the secondary authors or the tertiary authors, or they will get the authorship, or they will get only the contributorship, or they will only get the acknowledgement, that all must be decided there. Then self-plagiarism, that is also, if we are not citing a published work, we are not exactly quoting the text that the research that we already have done in our own publication. Means already we have published the text, the data, the images, the graph, the charts, whatever we have used in a previous publication, and we have published that somewhere, and we are not citing that there in our forthcoming publication. We are not citing our previous work, then definitely it will be the plagiarism of our. So that could be by many ways that already we have done. It could be the duplicate publication or double dipping. Double dipping, sometimes we use it, where what happens, where the exact, it is done by uh, various ways. Like we are publishing our work, but we alter the uh, a little bit, we make the changes in the articles and we send to some other journals, like the other editors, and they publish that work. We have published that same work in one journal, and we are publishing that in the other journal. And little bit alteration is there, very little nominal alteration, or there is no alteration. Then that will also be the duplicate publication. But conditions apply here. If the readership of that journal, like you have published, there is a study that is from clinical psychology, and that has been published in one of the social science journal. And later on, the same you want to publish in some biomedical journal, because that is related with a little bit, that is related with the biopsychology, or that is related of the mental disorders or mental health issues, that is the psychotic disorders. So accordingly, what happens might be that biomedical journal editors, editorial board, they will accept your publication, and your publication will get accepted there. So whether that will come under duplicate publications, it first depends on your institution policies, and second, the readership of the journal. If you are acknowledging and you are clearly citing, you are clearly giving the undertaking that your paper already has been published there, and these were the readers of that journal, and now you, in the next journal, the readers are totally different, and the acknowledgement is also given there that already it has been published, and the editorial board review the papers and they accept it. Yes, already publication is there, but we want to publish it because our journal readers are different, and this is a different population that is going to read. In that cases, that will not be the duplicate publications, but it is all on the policies and the acceptance by the that editorial board. New publication, sometimes we change the content a little bit, or we change the title a little bit, but that difference or that change is very slight, then also it comes under duplicate publications. Or nearly identical data, in data manipulations we are doing, and sometimes like the data cases are there in the duplicate publication where data aggregation is there or data disaggregation or data segmentation is there. In Islamic publication, we have talked earlier that this is like within the same research findings, we are uh, publishing that into parts. We are splitting that into slices. Okay. Or maybe we have changed the data. A little bit changes there in the data. Some data is minus or some data is plus or the data finding is saying something else and we have changed the finding. So that could also comes under the duplicate publications. So here it is very important, like the complex study that involves a lot of data and that involves a complex finding that should be published at once. That should be in a single publication. We should not publish that in the fragmentation. That will avoid this publication avoidance. So this is all. There are so many things, although we can be violation of publication ethics because there are different policies by different organizations, and there are very minute things that come under violation. But as the time is over, if there are some just and answers, then you could ask. Otherwise, from my side.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this wonderful and
Yeah, over
valuable
to Dr.
session.
Sushila. Thank you.
Please stay with us. Do not go away so that we can have some memories with you in the form of some snapshots.
Okay.
As well as I have sent the feedback link in the chat box. I will not send it into the group. Only 80 participants were there, so they are legible to get the attendance. Sending you the chat, the link again. And please open your video so that we can have some screenshots with you. Once a minute. Yes. Those who are at the YouTube, they can take screenshots also from there. Sir has highlighted so many aspects of violation of publication ethics. So many words sir has explained like verbatism, dripping, and many case studies sir has highlighted. And I acknowledge that his efforts he put in the slides as well as the knowledge, the insight he has given on the violation of publication ethics. So, sir, the session is nicely presented.
So thank you, Dr. Susila, and thank you everyone who has participated in the discussions, and especially I'm grateful to the people who come forward to read the case studies or to read the text, and even those people who were present in the background, they were enjoying, or even though people they were doing their work and they were listening only. So I'm grateful to everyone and thank you so much for your feedback that is coming here in the chat box. There are so many names I'm reading, and I was trying to reply there, but it's around more than 2 p.m. So it's over from my side, and where you are, I don't know, somewhere in the college or the university or at your workplace or at your home, so you can enjoy your day. Dr. Sushila, may I leave?
Once a minute, sir. Just I'm confirming that whether the screenshots are there.
Okay.
Many of the participants has not opened the video. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you for your nice presentation. Thank you all the participants, and we will meet tomorrow, day after tomorrow. And you are requested not to skip those sessions. Those sessions will are very very important. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sandeep, sir. I'm going to end the session.